Speaking of surprises, I think we should at least get into NXT a bit because NXT had a lot of surprises. Initially starting with Ethan Page beating Ricky Saints for the NXT North American title to open up NXT on Tuesday. That was a surprise. Rumor being that that Ricky Saints is on his way up to the main roster, which doesn't surprise me in the least. I kind of felt like NXT was just hey, we're able to sign you now because the Tony let you go. So we're going to put you here through WrestleMania because we don't want to put you on the main roster and not give you a Mania match. We don't have time for that. So it worked perfectly, and I see him coming up. I actually think he might show up at Money in the Bank. I actually think that's a pretty good chance that Ricky shows up at Money in the Bank. I think, but did you watch NXT?
I caught most of it.
Okay.
That's for me. That's a big step for me.
So here's what I think. I'm not sure, but I might as well fantasy mark book it for now for fun. So what I think is during the tag match of Cody and Jay versus Logan and Cena, somehow Travis Scott will come out maybe, or some other kind of situation will happen, but Ricky will make the save and the show will end with Ricky, Cody, and Jay celebrating in the ring, which instantly Ricky's over from that point. Like, it's one of those situations where a lot of us know who he is, whether the hardcore fans or the folks that watch NXT. But the folks that don't, you see this guy come out and hit a move on Logan Paul, and Logan Paul sells his ass off because he's fantastic at that.
Well, that's SmackDown, right?
No, I'm talking about
no, that's the SmackDown roster, though.
Right? Yeah, that is. And I'm just
I don't know that. I'm asking. I didn't know.
Yeah, it is. I don't know about Logan. Logan and Jay are technically Raw wrestlers. But Cody and you're right. Cody and Cena are on the SmackDown roster, which is also why it's a good way for him to come in and debut, because then they can kind of have a bidding war with Pierce and Aldis of who wants to sign him. I just think that would be a fantastic way to main roster debut him at a big show with major stars involved. As long as he, hits everything right, looks good, looks like a star, it's a great send-off for him. We'll see. I'm not sure, but I don't see any reason why he needs to stay in NXT any longer.
No, I'm just like I've said about all the people we talk about that move up. I'm always concerned about the main people, WWE fans, recognizing and acknowledging who these people are. Which
it's a great segue. I think that was but we'll segue this way a bit where I think it's been great that they've involved folks on SmackDown a bit more recently, where they had Javon Evans show up on SmackDown, Ethan Page show up on SmackDown, where they're at least doing some introductions of folks, whether it's in matches. Ethan Page is great as a heel commentary. So I feel like WWE, maybe there is someone that's listened to you on that one, George, because I feel like ever since you've said that, they've planted a little bit more seeds, even with like Vaquer and Julia and Roxanne being on Raw before they were called up, and now they've all been called up. So I think it's great they could plant the seeds well and at least try to do some sorts of introductions where they can. It does. And then what they're very smart about it too is they clip the best parts of it and throw them on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever, so people can see the little clips and the little bits. So it does seem like something they're doing very well.
Yeah, it's good to see they're doing that. I
agree.
Paid attention, but I didn't notice this when you got on there. I missed that one. So
it was during the Javon Evans. It was Javon Evans and Ray Phoenix, I think, teamed up. Yeah, but it was just one of those things where when I saw that, I thought of you. I'm like, well, they're planting the seed. Look at that. And they're like, hey, here's this person, here's that person. So unlike when it was under Vince, where it was not only did you have no idea who this person was when they were called up, but the person didn't know who they were because they changed their name, changed their gimmick, gave them a whole bunch of new crap.
Karrion Kross.
Right. He had Max Dupree. You were set up for failure. Just set up. My bad.
Max Dupree.
So, side note about my life, I was at the very first show that he was in the ring. That happened in Phoenix. It was July, like 2 years ago, I think, and where he did the introduction and talked about the Maximum Male models and their poses or whatever, and just it was death. especially because from what I saw, the only reason it was any good was because Pat McAfee was making fun of it on commentary. But without that commentary and an audience, it was literal death. That's
people actually knew who Eli Drake was.
Right? We knew who LA Knight was. I did from NXT. That was no. But just one more quick thing about NXT and back to the call-ups. Stephanie Vaquer lost the NXT title to JC Jane in a great match, and Vaquer looked strong still because Fallon kicked her in the head. Like, they did a bunch of heel cheating moves to have JC win because, as we said, Stephanie Vaquer has been called up and will have her official main roster first match. She's had matches on Raw before, but tonight is her first official match in that Money in the Bank qualifying match, which I think is a great showcase for her. But I was surprised by this. I didn't see this coming. I thought Vaquer would be going. I thought she would have some sort of involvement at the Worlds Collide show, and she still might on Saturday, but not if she wins. Not if she wins tonight and is in the Money in the Bank match. But maybe they feel like they don't need to worry as much about having her on that card because they've set themselves up with some really good matches for Worlds Collide. But
yeah, I think she'll be there. She'll be there.
I do too. I don't. I would assume that she won't win tonight, but she won't be involved in the finish, so that she doesn't. So she still looks strong. And then I would think even if she just makes it or the AAA shows earlier in the day, maybe they have her come out on stage, cut a promo, and then go to the.
There's no way you can have a AAA show with that name and her language ability. You can't.
I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, and I think that was why I was so surprised this happened here. I just thought she would have been the women's NXT champion at that show, but I feel like they're probably set themselves up well. Speaking of the Worlds Collide show, after Ethan Page won the title, the North American title at the beginning of the show, he came out before the main event and started cutting a promo, and then Javon Evans comes out and tells him it's going to be a fatal four-way involving Rey Fenix and Laredo Kid, who I've seen like 2 matches of his on YouTube from AAA. So that should at least be an exciting and fun match where you've got 2 pretty solid luchadors. You got Javon Evans, who's one of the most athletic people in the business today, and then Ethan Page, who's he'll be kind of like the general, being able to slow things down, kind of keep everybody at pace, kind of drive the match. But I'm not sure, but this one might be the one I'm looking forward to the most at the Worlds Collide show. But I thought that was cool to see them come out.
They make no mistake about putting that streaming on YouTube on there, don't they?
Yes, and they did it. I noticed during NXT on Tuesday, and then I thought they were really selling it home on SmackDown on Friday during the videos and testatours. Like, make sure YouTube and streaming on our WWE's YouTube, because that's kind of new for them. I don't think, at least in the States. I know they do like the Saturday night's main events or some other shows internationally on the international YouTube, but this one's going to be the first. I mean, I assume it's just worldwide on YouTube. I would
think about what kind of money WWE must be bringing in from this in order to get you to promote YouTube like that, because it's on Peacock.
Is it? I didn't think it. Is it actually on Peacock too?
Yeah, it's on NXT. Unless my fucking thing was wrong that I saw, but I thought I saw it on there this afternoon. I'll have to go look.
I haven't looked.
Now I'd have to go check again.
I haven't looked, but that's interesting. I just know that. I mean, it would make sense because I know the pre-show for Money in the Bank is basically starting like the moment Worlds Collide ends. So it would just make sense. I mean, I would rather just put Peacock on my TV and just not worry about it. That'd be a heck of a lot easier. But, I understand. I'm not sure. I'm wondering if they do just make it YouTube exclusive, if it's more of like a trial run. Or even if they don't make it exclusive, it's a trial run.
NXT Worlds Collide can be watched on Peacock. You can stream the events on them. Yeah, so there you go.
That's smart. I mean, hey, that's smart. Cover as many bases as you can, but it makes sense to do it, especially internationally for YouTube, for what the show is, involving the lucha talent and everything. I think it's a brilliant plan for them, and that's where some of the business tactics and some of the business moves that TKO makes are a little cringe, and a lot of it make you just think like it's a little bit too deep into the capitalism, but also I get it. So, but this seems cool. This seems like it'll be a fun Saturday. It's to be a very long Saturday, but I'm looking forward to it for sure. The other big match I think it's on the card is, which Vikingo has now won the AAA. I think it's the Mega Championship. I think it's what it's called. But you got Vikingo versus Chad Gable. That should be interesting. I'm wondering if they have a.
Did he beat Alberto? Did he beat Alberto then?
He did. He did. On Saturday night, he did. I saw the clip. There was some sort of like shadiness to it, but it was he beat Alberto on Saturday night at whatever the AAA show was there.
Interesting.
Right. I mean, we all kind of knew that was coming just because, let's be real, Alberto and WWE is probably not the best connection there. But I'm interested in this, that it's not El Grande Americano. And if they try to have, I don't know, one of the Creed brothers or somebody come out dressed as El Grande, but be clearly not Chad Gable, it'll be interesting to see what they do for that one. But I think it's very funny and very telling to see Vikingo being so featured on WWE television. Wasn't that long ago we were seeing him on AEW. I mean, he was on TNA as well, but yeah, it's just funny to see him being featured as heavily as he is, whether it's in the crowd at the shows, in the commercials. There was a video that they ran the same video package for him on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. So they're really hammering that home.
Yeah, I saw him on the AEW show a couple of times. I was never a big fan, but
I wasn't really either. It was one of those situations where, and also too, I feel like at least the matches I saw, there was a lot of like multi-man stuff where it'd be like an 8-man tag. There's too many people, and a lot of them are doing the same kind of stuff. And then also, I feel like AEW has that thing. And again, I'm quoting Jim Cornette, but he's one of my favorite people in the business. But where he's like, "Hey, I need you to do a difficulty of 5, but an execution of 10." And I feel like a lot of times in AEW, they're like, difficulty of 8 and execution of 4. Like, no, the other way. And I feel like that was where he had mishaps in AEW, was because, again, to your point, he was just allowed to do whatever the hell he wanted. So hopefully they'll rein him in more. And one of those things where maybe he ends up being a great talent in not only AAA, but maybe on WWE big shows one day. But we'll see.
I think their plan is to keep him where he is. You know what I mean?
I would think so.
Promote him heavily. So. Promote him heavily in WWE, and just let him go do his AAA thing.
Yeah, I mean, AAA's obviously it's it's either the biggest or second biggest promotion in Mexico, and it's very important to that culture. And they didn't acquire it, to just shut it down or not make money with it. So yeah, you still got to have your big stars, and clearly they have invested in him. But yeah, I think that'll be a very fun match and a fun show for sure. And then, right afterwards is Money in the Bank, because this starts at 3 Eastern, and Money in the Bank starts at 7 Eastern. So, or maybe it's 8. I don't know. I know there's the pre-show in between, but gonna be interesting to see. I think I'm most interested in the 2 Money in the Bank matches, and then the tag match should be. I think that'll be more story driven. It probably won't be the best match, but hopefully my prediction is right about Ricky Saints making his debut. Hey, I was right about Bronson Reed, so I'll take the wins where I can get them. I'm usually wrong. So.
We'll do a show previewing this before it goes off on Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah, today's Monday. Let me know.
Plenty of time.
Yeah.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure everybody's been able to hear the much better sound quality of George with the new microphone. Literally, mine is on the way to my house right now. We wanted to get this episode in before Raw kicks off tonight, but no, this was good.
Can we discuss one last thing?
I was just you read my mind, buddy. I'm like, I think I covered everything I had on my list, but if there's anything else you want to cover, my friend, let's talk about
a quick simple discussion.
Sure.
HBK Booker of the Year.
I mean, yes, it's
6 months in, but come on.
I think I think he's been doing it a bit longer. I say yes, as long as there isn't like, I don't think Triple H is involved. I know he's on like the executive producer thing at the end, but if it's all Sean doing it in full, and I think it is as well, absolutely. Because here's the thing. the main roster shows there are some bigger moments with bigger stars, and there are some of like the very high end stuff is like the best stuff, yes. But NXT consistently, like there's nothing that bad on it for me. And if it is, it's because they're growing. But the thing for me is NXT might not be the best show every week. Some weeks it definitely is. This past week it definitely was. But for me, it's the most fun show. And he's working with the talent that he's got and helping them maximize and grow. And for me, that's the best part of NXT, of watching somebody evolve and get better. And there's even those certain moments where you see it click. Like Trick Williams is a prime example. You know, after Mello left, he was kind of struggling a bit, and then he started to figure it out. And then you could just see him now when he comes out, like he's just got that strut about him. Like it makes sense to him. And that's just fun for me to watch. It's
he has to take constant chicken shit and make it no, seriously.
Yeah, no, I'm right with you.
Constant chicken shit and make it the chicken salad every so often they bring people in.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's what they're there for. And it's fun to see what he can do, because he obviously knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
When you see him actually take the talent to, you know, whatever he does on the side, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they listen to him.
Oh, and that's the other thing too. There's certain people that you definitely want to listen to, as we were talking about before, and like you get the chance to learn under Sean. How could you not want to? But I also think it's cool that he pays tribute to different stuff from his past, but just different stuff from other things in the history of wrestling as well. You know, I feel like that also is very good for the talent that is like more, let's say the NIL talent, who maybe weren't wrestling fans fully growing up, or they knew of it or weren't as into it, or maybe people like Bianca Belair didn't know anything at all till she got the opportunity for it and now has fallen in love with it. But when you get to show them that hit the historic stuff, or here's what we're doing that's paying homage to this, and it just gives people more respect and love for the business, which they can take forward. I'm not sure if there's a better person to do what he's doing, you know, especially with who he is now. I know there's the past of Sean, but he's two different people. We
all change.
Absolutely. Triple H, when he talked about bringing CM Punk back, the first thing they said in their conversation is, hey, man, if I'm the same person I was 10 years ago, or you're the same person you were 10 years ago, we've wasted 10 fucking years. And it's like, bam, you got to grow and evolve. Sean became a better person, and, you know, he lost his hair and his left eye kind of went wonky. But, hey, he's a better man for it, and it doesn't matter. And he's still Shawn Michaels, and it's cool to see. And when he talks about it, too, like you can see the pride beaming in him, and that's just cool. Like when somebody's that into what they're doing because they know they're building the future of the business, you know?
Yeah. See, I know when I asked the question, I know he's not going to win it.
Right. Well,
he's not going to win it. He's not.
Well, I mean, win it like from Dave and his.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, that's
normal. Let's go this way. The normal Observer Awards, he won't even come close.
Right, and that's because of those YouTubers who vote, and he should be absolutely. But
I'd like to see where he ranks in their poll, and then we all outside of this know that HBK is doing wonders and should be. But I'm interested to see where he plops into there, though.
No, and I feel like that's one of those reasons why
my voice is shot.
And it started like my allergies are killing me. Like I feel like it started really over a year ago, where Dave I think Dave saw that coming in the sense of what his readers would do. And since that, he has always put down everything in NXT. He put down Trick Williams in just some really brutal ways of things he said about Trick, which none of it was true, because Trick is super over and he's really good at this for how long he's been doing it. But Dave tries to plant those seeds, and unfortunately, well, I mean, if you're still paying him $15 a month for the quote unquote news he's giving you, you're clearly an idiot. And so there's, you know, the people responding into it aren't the brightest. I think it'd be funny if he didn't have to win it, but man, if he beats Tony, like if it's Triple H, like let's say Triple H, the NJPW person, and then Sean, and then Tony, that would be really funny. But
just for the record, there's a lot of people that you and I both know that get the Observer.
Well, there's a difference of it. That not for
no, they get it. They get it because
Right. They get it either out of habit or like they get it to have the information so they can use it to their advantage. I'm talking about the people that are looking at that as like, this is the news.
Gospel,
this is real. Yeah, exactly. The people that are going to turn around and use it as, well, Dave said this as like in an argument about whatever they're trying to, like the people that are trying to say that AEW is a profitable company. I'm like, maybe they might make a profit this year alone, but
sure,
being a profitable
$1.50.
Being a profitable company involves the entire time they've been a company. And yeah, but it is what it is.
Anybody can make $1.
Yeah.
That's a profit.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. I just would like to see the actual numbers of it, but Dave will just tell you, and whatever he tells you, it'll be 30% more the next time and 30% more the next time.
We're never going to know.
Numbers don't include Max. Exactly.
We'll never know the numbers, and that's fine because we can't.
Yep, and that is what it is, and that's why I don't worry too much about that world of it. That's why I just want their TV product to be better. We talked about this before on Spaces too. It's like when WWF took over WCW, it wasn't just because of a specific time. Like there was a specific time when it happened, but the show that it happened was the Austin versus McMahon match that they had been building for like a year because the shows had gotten better, and then people finally figured it out. I would love to see AEW do that, where the shows are better and more entertaining and they start to grow and get better. That would be better for everybody. I know people think I'm an AEW hater. I'm not. I just hate what it is now, and that everybody says that Tony can do no wrong when clearly all he's done really is wrong. But that's another story for a different day.
Yep, I think we can wrap there. Cool. I'm pretty satisfied with this one.
Yeah, no, I love it. And so
Spaces next week, AEW Disciplinary Committee will be with us.
Yes, that was where I was leading first. Perfect. Yep. That'll be 8:05 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Please like, share, subscribe. We're getting more subscribers, more views, more people coming in. Please, if you got your friends who like wrestling or even just like good and interesting conversations, tune into our Spaces or more of our shows. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.